Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Expansion Pack podcast, where we download this week's gaming news and we bring it straight to you. We're on our second try of episode 81. We gave it a good try last week. Ended up having some technical issues with the audio, so we didn't have an episode last week. But now we're here officially with episode 81. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of new news from last week that kind of overlaps into this week's news. So kind of worked out because there really wasn't as much to talk about last week as compared to this week. So we're here to talk about some games. As you guys know, I'm your host, Denzel, aka Black Ice 8. I'm joined by my co-hosts each and every week on all the various platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We got my boy Manny, aka Goop Master Flex, over to my right. If you're watching us, what's going on, Manny?
You know, we gooping, hooping, scooping, and doing.
But not pooping.
Oh.
Nope.
Pooping, guys. I'm
Very
sorry.
concise on the no pooping.
All right. Well, we always stay gooping out here. Thank you for that, Mr. Goop. But, we got my boy down low here, Mr. 525. What's going on, Chris?
In the building. What's going on, gentlemen? It's another day, another dollar. It's time to talk about some goddamn games. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Hey, Chris, I know you have something special for us now. We're switching up the way. Well, we're not switching up necessarily the way we do things, but, we have a change to our standard protocol. So I'm going to let you tell the people a little bit about it, all right?
All right, yeah, no, I mean, we ain't changing nothing too crazy. You know what I'm saying? We just, trying to get some better theming going. So we're going to be just changing from the word icebreaker to now calling it the buffer, which I think is great because it gets us started, in our conversation about gaming. So going forward, ain't no more ding, gotta retire it, y'all. I'm sorry. Or maybe we use it in another way at some point, but the ding, it's gone, yo. It's gone. We'll come up with something better. But anyways, this week's buffer. Name a celebrity that you would not mind playing in an RPG video game as. Pretty simple, straightforward. For me, it would be it's kind of like a two-part question or two-part answer, I guess I should say. I would love to see an RPG about Biggie and Pac. I would love to play a game like that. That story for me has always been a very fascinating one. There's still a lot of loose ends to the story, clearly because we still don't even know much about how they actually, or not how they died, but who killed them. I also think they would be cool because you could add a component to the game that's almost like, I don't want to say Guitar Hero-esque, but kind of like Guitar Hero, but like you're not really trying to like master how to rap per se. You're more so trying to master how to have a good performance. Does that make any sense? So like it's almost like what do they call them again? The little quick time events, QTEs or whatever, them things. It's almost kind of like that, but with like precise timing with the beats and shit that are playing in the background. So like as you do that shit through a song, your performance becomes more lively. You're able to get more crowd reactions, and maybe they can have like a crowd meter or something like that in there. And you're overall just trying to like outperform the other person while at the same time going through the storyline of, them growing up where they grew up on the respective coasts. And, you could do the east side, you could do the west side, and that's two way different things in terms of like, California, New York. You could even intertwine the stories halfway through because they're connected, so it's a lot of cool things you could do with an RPG like that. And I would be totally here for it. Imagining Suge Knight in video game form is mad funny to me. Like that man, I'm so what?
That's the villain.
Yeah,
That's the villain of the story right there.
Yeah.
He killed them both.
But like, would he? You'd be so mad if this game came out because he's like, yo, they trying to slander my name, bro. They trying to slander my name.
He ain't doing shit.
I think so. Last I heard, I think he was locked up.
Yeah, he locked up.
But man, that would be mad funny. But dude, I'm telling you, I'm here for that story all around. If you give us a good world where like I can actually explore, like I imagine Biggie and Bed-Stuy or whatever when he was growing up, and he's out on these corners battle rapping and doing all this stuff and the bodegas and da. And I'm like, that's cool, man, to be able to wake up in your room, put on your Coogee shit or whatever, go downstairs, you fucking with the bros, and like you're literally progressing through his life. But every time you have to really do a performance, you got to nail these QTEs. And yeah, you just keep on going through the story that way. It's like a mixture of like a Telltale game, some Guitar Hero aspects, and like, I don't know, I guess a smidge of some stuff you would get from Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. It's a Grand Theft Auto aspect of it. Damn. It's funny, yo. Made me like reformulate my answer a little bit because I wasn't thinking about it as a serious question. Like I thought I really like the way you framed it. It was just like, name a celebrity whose life you wouldn't mind playing as an RPG. And I really wasn't thinking of it like it's almost like a biopic, but in video form or like video game form.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was just thinking like some fun one-off, like who would you like to play in a video game and be like silly or whatever. Like you made me completely reformulate my answer. So
I mean, you can still go with whatever you had. Either way, it still counts.
I'm gonna let you go first, regardless. It's just funny to me. It's funny how like you perceive things when you read them on paper versus when somebody like says that out loud to you. It's like, yeah, it completely changed the way I was thinking about it. But yeah, Manny, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I know this guy. I wouldn't really say he's a celebrity, but I mean, he is well known. But if I had to choose somebody's life that I had to play as an RPG, I think it's only right that I go with, El Chapo over here, because my man out here breaking out of prisons. He live in GTA in real life. You know what I'm saying?
That's Scarface. He's Scarface. Right?
Hey, he's Scarface. You know what I'm saying? So be out here playing as the biggest drug lord, going through whatever he goes through. We don't know, but you put it in a video game form and you tell your story your own way. I'm telling you, this I would say it's a GTA game that is being ready to be made. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm here for that too.
I would say I'll try for, you know what I'm saying? Just build your own story, be like, okay, this is what he did when he broke out of prison and shit, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. I feel like I would like to see the exact story from him. I feel like his story, like the essence of his story, has already been captured in like so many different mediums. Like I said, Scarface. You could argue Vice City is largely, like his life as well, and there's a bunch of other things that have been brought up. But I would definitely be really interested to see like an actual video game biopic of his life, because that would be dope. Damn. So my first thought when I read this, like I said, was something silly. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I'd love to play a Snoop Dogg. That would be fun. Like to be like fucking around in like Saints Row with Snoop Dogg and just be high all the time and like be Snoop, who he is. Then when you hit me with the more serious shit, I was like, you know what? It would be dope to just be NWA. That would be fire.
I don't know if they would let that rock.
I mean, they've already they've had multiple shows, a TV show and a movie. I think they let it rock. I think they would definitely.
I would be fired. I would be here for that. Yeah. I definitely would be. Would be fired.
NWA, like the whole, like their whole story, playing that out as a video game. That would be crazy.
Do you think there's ever a possibility that GTA could ever do something like that, where they just take an actual storyline, not some shit they made up, but just some shit like what you're talking about, and just said, "Yo, this is Grand Theft Auto, I don't know, NWA edition or some shit like that." Do you think that's possible to ever happen?
I don't think it would ever happen because of how they approach that franchise. But I would love to see the Rockstar team do that as like a side project. Like, I don't know. Like I said, they wouldn't call it Grand Theft Auto, but I guess the closest thing I can think of in my mind for like a title is like GTA Stories : NWA or Biggie and Tupac, or like any of those types of stories. I would love to see them do something like that, but I don't feel like they would brand it with the Grand Theft Auto tagline. And I don't think they would necessarily need to either, right? Because you would already have the notoriety of the studio's name, but also like the name of whoever story you're telling be a thing. But yo, I would love to see like I would have to imagine that might be like maybe 5 to 10 years off, right? Like somebody who's like growing up now, or like, you know, being bigger in the culture of like the hip hop and whatnot now. And like, you know, when their time comes and somebody approaches them for like making a biopic, they're like, yo, let's turn that into a video game and then just have that be a thing. Like, I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah. For those of you who are watching, you know, would you guys like to see something like that? Would you guys want to see like a specific artist? Like, I don't know. I mean, Drake wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be particularly interesting.
I would not want to play a Drake RPG. I'm all set.
But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's one of the biggest names of hip hop, so that's the only reason his name came up. But I don't.
You want to play through the first couple years as the Degrassi guy? Like, I don't want to do that. That's not fun.
Wheelchair.
It ain't fun.
Wheelchair
I want to be
Jimmy.
on these streets. I'm trying to be out in the hood, man. I don't want to do this. Hell nah.
Damn. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe Drake's got some crazy stuff in his past that we don't know about, and maybe
he's running through the 6 with his woes, my dude.
There you go. I don't know. I don't know.
Know how that should go.
You know how that should go.
But yeah, guys, let us know what you guys think. You know, if there's a specific artist or, you know, just celebrity in general who you think would have a really interesting biopic video game type of thing. What do you bio game? I don't know. What would be the term for that? Bio game. That's the best I could come up with.
I don't know. I don't know what you would call that. I get the feeling Carrot Top would have a really interesting game too.
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top is a weird looking guy, and I know nothing about his origin.
Isn't he like, you know, I'm not even gonna say that because that could be like slander, defamation. I'm not gonna say nothing. But I feel like I've heard some interesting stories about him. But either way, we digress. We'll move on to the gaming news. Oh man, so we're gonna start off with with Gamescom. Gamescom is coming up very soon. I think it's officially starting on the 24th, which would be next week. Wednesday. So opening night live with Jeff Keighley, that typically happens the night before, or the day before. So
actually, no, I think it's Thursday because
Jeff Keighley's thing.
This says the event will kick off on Wednesday the 23rd. But I thought it was 23rd.
So article that we were reading from Video Games Chronicle, and not to like call them out in a negative way, but in the article it mentioned that the opening night live is happening Wednesday, August 23rd, but it's actually Tuesday, August 23rd. So the 24th is Wednesday, the 23rd is Tuesday. So opening night live is going to be taking place at that point in time. And Jeff Keighley's been kind of, you know, as he does, you know, building the hype a little bit, just to, you know, get some awareness out there about the fact that this opening night live is happening. I think for me, he seems a little bit more confident this time about talking about things in comparison to the what do they call it? The Summer Games Fest event or whatever, Summer Games Fest Live. I think he's got more to talk about this time. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But alas, I'll read off the excerpt from the Video Games Chronicle here. So opening night live is Jeff Keighley's regular pre-show for the German Expo being Gamescom, which is set to take place in Cologne as an in-person event for the first time since 2019. So again, they mentioned in the article that it's going to kick off Wednesday, August 23rd, but it's actually Tuesday. It's going to include over 30 games. Let's see here. And they mentioned that more than 20 games will be on stage. Keighley said it's going to be a big spectacle. We have some very cool guests that are coming to Germany to join us on stage as well to reveal their games and showcase new content. So he goes on to say in this article that there are specific creators that had things that they were supposed to show off at the Summer Games Fest that they didn't, and it got pushed. I have some theories on one of them at the very least, but you know, basically this is all just drumming up some hype for this stuff, right? I think we've all talked about how, you know, disappointed we were in the way things went down with E3. You know, we were expecting bigger games, you know, things along those lines. The one thing that Jeff Keighley's confirmed is that we're going to actually get gameplay footage from Goat Simulator 3. Now, you know, that's a big deal for some people. That game is huge, and I don't understand why, but like I also have to respect it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know,
can't do anything but respect it, I guess.
Exactly. Like it's just like, you know, we just gotta accept it. But
Yep.
before I get you guys' opinions on what you think might be at the show, or you know, if this is something that we're going to be excited about, I will mention that we're not going to live stream it because it's going to be taking place like at 2 p.m. our time, so we'll all be at work. But we are going to try to record right after, you know, like that evening to get a show up to you guys and kind of give our reactions for whatever gets shown off, because I do think it's going to be a big show. I do think there's going to be a couple big announcements that, you know, we're definitely going to want to talk about. One of which I really think is this Kojima project that leaked right at E3. I think it leaked the day before Jeff's thing at E3, the Summer Games Fest live thing. And I think Kojima is such a big stickler, or he's very particular about how his things get presented to the world, that I think he probably kind of took a step back after that leak. And I think this might be where he decides to actually step out and show it off to the world. Because, you know, we all talked about like the fact that the show ended on The Last of Us Part 2 felt a little weird. Like it felt like there should have been that one more thing. And I feel like, you know, this Kojima game, I think they're saying it might be called Overdose or something along those lines. I think that would have been a really good way to end the show and have people talking back then. So, you know, it being missing was definitely, it was felt for sure. And then also the fact that, you know, Microsoft then has their press conference the next, I think Summer Games Fest Live was Thursday, Microsoft's thing was Sunday. So he shows up at Microsoft's thing just to say, hey, we're working together, and that's it, nothing to show. Everybody thought that those two things were kind of weird. And so I think, you know, putting two and two together, I think we may actually see something at this opening night live at Gamescom. But what else are you guys expecting to see? Do you guys think we will be seeing something from Kojima? I'm going to start with you, Chris, this time around. So what do you think, man?
Yeah, I just kind of feel like this whole year, in terms of gaming news in general, it's been more light than we expected it to be so far. So if you're in a position where you got to choose between having a heavy hitter announcement either in the summer or to cap off the year and head into next year, I think it's probably a better idea to save it for what we're probably going to get with the Gamescom stuff. But yeah, I do agree. I do think he sounds a lot more confident in what we're going to be getting. I don't know if it's the Kojima thing. It might be. But if it's not that, I would expect something on a similar level. Or maybe even an announcement of something that's been getting worked on or something like that. But yeah, I'm expecting both this and then also the Game Awards later on this year to kind of have some good stuff in it. Just because I don't want to say this year was a wash because it's still not over yet, but in a lot of ways, I think, you know, after we're in 2023 and we're in 2024 and we got some of those games in our hands, we're going to look back and be like, 2022 was decent, but like it kind of was a little bit of a wash in terms of like what we're getting now, you know? So, in terms, yeah, I don't know if it's Kojima game, but I think we're going to get something big. Something's coming. And he's got something in the tuck. And I think he probably had it in the tuck for whatchamacallit, but he was like, nah, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this. I don't think I want to put this out there yet because this is some good shit.
Well, I think he even went on to say, like, the people just weren't ready to show things off. So I really do think, I think it's like he had no choice, you know. But it's funny that you mentioned the, you know, like 2022 being a wash. I really do think that that's if Elden Ring didn't drop this year,
yeah,
it would be dry. Like, remember, Elden Ring was supposed to drop at the end of last year. Well, at least that was the speculation. The expectation was that it was supposed to drop last fall. So if it actually had, imagine where we would be right now, bro. We would, I mean, the tentative game of the year, I guess Horizon would probably be the tentative game of the year. Which,
but
you
like
know,
by default, though, not because of competition, you know.
But at the same time, it's not like it's a bad game, you know. Like it actually is a good game. It does deserve to be in that conversation. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I really do think even if God of War smacks, like I still think Elden Ring is like the de facto game of the year. It was just such a phenomenon, like a force. I would love to see some DLC at that opening night live. By the way, that would be fantastic because I've been hearing a little bit more about Elden Ring lately. Like, it like accidentally popped up as a potential Xbox cloud gaming thing. That's going to be, people are like, oh, maybe in Game Pass, it may not be, because I know Microsoft's trying to put more games that aren't in Game Pass in the cloud streaming stuff. So it would, it'd be kind of a cool thing to coincide with actual DLC being announced. I've been dying to get back into that game, and I've been dying to get Chris into that game. That should have been our stream last the other day, by the way. That should have been it.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. You're right.
Ooh, yeah, we got to get that going, man. This is my obligatory like once a week, month moment to try to get Chris to play Elden Ring, because it literally is the game of the year. It's amazing. Shit. But Manny, sorry I took up a little bit of your time there, but what do you think about the show? What are you expecting to see? Do you think we're gonna get the Kojima thing? Am I just being a little too hopeful? What's up?
I'm gonna be a little more hopeful than you. All right, because with these recent rumors of GTA 6, I'm hoping we get at least something here.
Oh, you want one, boy? You want one?
Oh man, my guy loaded the clip.
I went for the home run. You know what I'm saying? You just want for the base hit. I'm going for the home run. I want to see GTA 6. If it's coming out, at least rumored to be next March to April of 2024, then what I'm saying, we gotta have something. I don't know. I just feel like, if those rumors are true, I mean, they're all rumors. Sure, I'll take it with a grain of salt. But I'm like, seasoning the whole piece of meat. You know what I'm saying? I want GTA 6. So.
If Jeff gets GTA, bro.
Well, see, that was what I was going to ask. Wouldn't Rockstar just do their own little announcement instead of giving it to somebody like this?
You would think, but so this is the thing I've said about Rockstar. They are very unpredictable, right? And they usually just go to the beat of their own drum. And I feel like they don't tend to show up to these things. But I feel like it would be the most Rockstar thing for them to just pop up out of nowhere at this thing and just be like,
hey guys,
hey, GTA 6, boom, and just like fucking.
They don't even have to pop up. They could just be like, we got a brand new trailer from a franchise you guys love, and then it's like.
That is exactly how Jeff would present it, though. Like, he wouldn't give it any fanfare. He would just be like, I think you guys are really gonna like this one. Boom, and they just walk off. And
like, you're gonna see the Rockstar logo, and the crowd goes wild.
Oh man,
that would be wild.
Whatever day it is that trailer drops, man, internet's
I'm
gonna
hoping
lose its mind.
I'm hoping the Summer Games Fest or Opening Light Life or
the Sony one,
the PlayStation showcase, yeah, because I know Rockstar and PlayStation got the little thing going on together. I don't know what it is, but they always seem to be showing their things there. So
yes, sir.
That's good.
Oh man, we can't get into the GTA conversation again, man, because it's gonna derail the whole show. Let's get this back on the rails, guys. You know what? Yeah, we'll basically wait to see what we see from Opening Night Live. Like I said, it's coming Tuesday, August 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll definitely be watching. We will be, greatly anticipating whatever's shown off, whether it's, this Kojima thing, whether it's GTA, whether it's something else entirely. We're happy to be getting some more gaming news because it's been a little bare. It's been a little bare since E3 for sure. Yeah. So, we're happy to have a little bit more to talk about. And of course, like I said, we'll bring you some news from that. We'll have our reactions and stuff to talk about. But I want to move on to our last topic for today. And it leads into something that, we were talking about last week. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that episode out. But, there's been this giant back and forth since Microsoft is kind of in their final stages of acquiring Activision Blizzard. They're going through the different regulatory committees. And I believe it was the Brazilian and the New Zealand one that kind of garnered up some news 2 weeks ago in regards to Sony saying that, Call of Duty is an essential franchise, that no other company could come close to making a game like this. It's in a league of its own, so on and so forth. And, we all talked about it, and we all basically chalked it up to a bunch of bullshit. Basically, it was Sony just either butt her or just trying to be pretty strategic about, trying to kill this deal, because obviously, it puts Microsoft in a great position to sell more Game Pass, sell more consoles, just put them in a better situation than they're in right now. And funny enough, the story around that is not over. It's not over at all. So Microsoft kind of came back swinging, clapping back at a lot of these claims that Sony has made. And I'll just kind of get into a lot of this. So this is another article from Video Game Chronicles here. And I'm just gonna this is gonna be a long one, so just bear with me here. But basically, they read last month Sony told the Brazilian regulatory body that the deal would influence players' switch from PlayStation to Xbox. At the time, it argued that Call of Duty is so popular that it influences users' choice of console, and its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it. So now Microsoft has responded to this accusation or just the statement, I guess, in general. And in the report, Microsoft notes that while numerous third parties, and we talked about this, amongst ourselves last week too, basically a number of third parties like Ubisoft, Bandai Namco, Warner Brothers was in there, a couple different ones. They all gave responses to the regulatory committee. And Sony was the only company that claimed that Call of Duty was, in fact, in a genre of its own with no competition. So there's a quote here. Only 1/3 Sony presented materially different opinions than the applicants and the other third parties consulted by the SG. Sony is isolated in its understanding, and curiosity even contradicts itself in the response to the letter, as they go on to then detail. Microsoft goes on to state that Sony doesn't want to see Call of Duty games on Game Pass on day one because it's resentful of having to compete. This is an exact quote. It's resentful of having to compete with Microsoft's subscription service. I think this is also one of those things we talked about amongst ourselves that's kind of a, I think Microsoft's like taking off the gloves a little bit because they're kind of annoyed about this whole situation. It's just like y'all full of shit, basically, is what they're saying here. So they go on to say Sony's public statements on subscription games and its response to the letter are clear. Sony doesn't want attractive subscription services to threaten its dominance in the digital distribution market for console games. So, in other words, Sony's scared. Actually, they go on to say, in other words, Sony rails against the introduction of new monetization models capable of challenging its business model. Microsoft also denies the claim that Call of Duty is a category in of itself, despite the fact that it has loyal following. So they go on to say again, stating that Call of Duty has a loyal following in a premise from which does not follow from the conclusion that the game itself is its own gaming category. They say that Sony owns PlayStation and also has a loyal basis of fans. And basically, if you try to make the correlation that Sony has a loyal basis of fans, that somehow PlayStation is in a category of its own, which obviously it's not. So just kind of fast forwarding through a lot of this, the big thing that a lot of people have been talking about here, and I think this is something that we've explored on the podcast in the past, but they go on to say, actually, I'll read this again verbatim. So Microsoft's head of gaming has subsequently confirmed its intentions to continue to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation platforms. However, it was later claimed that Activision Blizzard is contractually committed to releasing only the next 3 Call of Duty games on PlayStation consoles. Now, in Microsoft's response to all of this stuff, they basically have gone on to say, I'm trying to find the exact quote because I'm missing it here. Oh, it also alleges that Sony actively tries to hamper Game Pass growth by paying its developers to block rights to adding their games to Game Pass. Now, that's a pretty big claim to say out loud, and I think we've all kind of seen some evidence to that. But they're literally saying here, without getting too deep into the wording, they're literally saying that PlayStation has paid in the past to make sure that games can't go on Game Pass. Through exclusivity deals and all those types of things, which is honestly what makes a lot of this conversation really weird to me. And I think weird to a lot of people is like Sony's been pretty big about exclusivity in the past. Like they have paid for exclusive marketing deals. They paid for games to be exclusive entirely. We know that like the Final Fantasies of the world, they've been exclusive for quite some time. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is still exclusive to PlayStation platforms. And I think it was heavily rumored that Sony paid for that. We don't have necessarily any proof per se, but it seems like kind of obvious. Like, why wouldn't you put it on other platforms? You could probably make more money that way. So the first thing that comes to mind is I remember way back when, I wish I could remember the episode, but we were talking about it, over a year ago, that Sony had a deal with Capcom around Resident Evil Village, and how, basically they had a marketing deal with Sony that somewhere in that documentation basically said that you couldn't put it on a competitor streaming service. It didn't necessarily outline Game Pass per se, but, obviously if you can read between the lines, you understand exactly what they're trying to do. So with all of that being said, Manny, I'm going to start with you on this one. This seems like pretty obvious stuff, but at the same time, what do we think about the idea that Sony has been paying to block games from Game Pass?
I mean, it shows that Sony itself is pretty salty about, especially this whole acquisition about Activision. We know Sony has their amazing first-party games such as God of War, Horizon, stuff like that. But like realistically, you can only play single-player games for so long compared to games like Call of Duty, where everybody buys it pretty much. That's like majority who is casuals and loves their competitive shooters or whatever, they play Call of Duty because that's what it is. It's a casual game or it's a competitive game, depending on how you look at it. It's a fun game for everyone and all that kind of stuff, especially with Warzone, like being as big as it was when it first came out. So they know, the value of Call of Duty. And I just think it's hilarious how they're still being salty about it in the sense of saying, oh, like this game is like the game. If Microsoft holds it, like, oh, we're all in trouble because they're going to all go to Xbox and there's going to be no PlayStation, as if like they're not confident on their own exclusives. So like, they're just complaining about, oh, if they hold it and then they got their own subscription service and that's it, like the competition's over. But in reality, like they just started their own subscription service, and in my opinion, like they can easily compete with Microsoft by putting their own games in the subscription service. But instead of what they're doing is just like they're holding their AAA games that people love the most and just like selling you the subscription service that's like, in my opinion, pretty mid. And it's not really like something that kind of like hooks you. So if you want to compete, how about you take the sacrifice of that price point of $70 per game and put, your AAA titles in Game Pass to really compete? Because in the end, like you make these great titles, but like if only like a couple million people are buying the game, then it's like really not worth it in the end. But if you have it in the subscription, then you got like tens of millions of people already subscribed, and like it's a good benefit for you.
1000%.
Like they're salty because they know Call of Duty is like half what people play. I feel like, the people that say PlayStation's better, 90% of the time only play Call of Duty casually and like 2K and stuff like that. Games that are cross-platform, and then like if Microsoft decides to just be like, all right, you want to be like that, exclusive Game Pass only subscriptions, and it's over.
Yeah, I really still don't think Microsoft's going to do that with Call of Duty in particular, because they would make a lot of money off of PlayStation platforms. But I do think when you end up taking a look around and you're like, all right, well, I could pay. I can't remember what it like equates out to for the year, but whatever. I think it's $15 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, right? So you do whatever math on that you can. But if you figure that out and you're like, all right, every year I'm gonna get the latest Call of Duty for free, essentially, and then I'll also get whatever other games it is that roll through the pipeline, right? Like the stuff that ends up on EA Access. I think eventually, we all think the Ubisoft Plus thing will be a thing on Game Pass. So like when you start to think about the value behind those things, the Starfield and Forza and the latest Gears of War and the latest Halo and so on and so forth. You start to really take a look at every single thing that's coming along with that. It's like, well, why would I continue paying $70 to get this game or that game on PlayStation? It's like, I'm sure like people will still keep their PlayStation to play like the latest Spider-Man game, and those couple games that seem to transcend the platform. But Call of Duty is definitely the biggest entertainment entity that Microsoft would own at that point if they if they, once this deal goes through. It's like, dude, like it is kind of the king of gaming. Like it's not necessarily in a league all its own, and I think there's still room for people to go out there and compete. It just hasn't happened yet. And so I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I understand it makes total sense as to why Sony's scared. It makes absolute sense. But I also think that, the idea that they can compete, they could. I think they mentioned in the article from a couple weeks ago, or in their like response from a couple weeks ago, that it would take them roughly 7 years to build up a competitor to Game Pass to be at the level that it's at. It's like, I don't think that's true, man. I think if you just said tomorrow God of War Ragnarok's in there and every other first party title is in there, that changes the landscape completely. Like imagine Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, Ragnarok, so on and so forth, the Last of Us Part 1, and like whatever the next Last of Us ends up being, like all that stuff, that's just in PlayStation Plus. It's a different story, man. I'll go out and buy that shit. I would definitely go out and buy that shit right now, and that's revenue that they can be making. It's just weird. Like you have these and here's another side to that argument too, right? As far as shooters go, I don't think that Destiny is necessarily in the same category as Call of Duty. But if you look at the pedigree of Bungie and the fact that they were able to make Destiny, which has absolutely amazing shooting mechanics, and obviously the people that were working there worked on Halo, like another great shooter. If you really wanted to fund, Bungie taking the time to make a Call of Duty competitor per se, like a more traditional boots on the ground shooter without any of the RPG elements and any of that type of stuff, you could do that. Like you have people that you just bought that could make another Call of Duty, which makes the whole whining and complaining thing like stupid, because you have some of the best developers in the world. When you look at Bungie, take a look at Naughty Dog, you take a look at Insomniac, like the best developers in the world. So that argument just, man, that whole thing.
Like, they talk about like there's no competition with what Call of Duty is like, look at Bungie. Bungie was a competition back then. You know what I'm saying? Well, Halo was a competition when Bungie ran it. Like, Halo's still, a good first person shooter, but like, when Bungie ran it, that was when the game was the shit.
Yeah, it was pretty much, that was the conversation. It was between Halo and Call of Duty. It was just back and forth. And then Microsoft dropped the ball partially dropped the ball with Halo, but also like Bungie just didn't want to do it anymore. So that is really when it knocked, Halo down a couple pegs. But I think if Bungie looked to pivot and be more focused on like the multiplayer experience, like for example this Matter game, that I know that's like a term that gets brought up a lot. Yeah, but like the new IP Matter that's supposed to be coming out, that's supposed to be like multiplayer focused. That alone could be the thing that could like maybe not kill Call of Duty, but definitely knock it down a couple pegs. And then you're starting to have that conversation again. I just think the nature of gaming is so fluid that it just takes for another really great idea to pop up to change the landscape of what really is considered the best game out there right now, right? Like you look at Fortnite and you look at all the different things that Fortnite did. That was on nobody's radar when that first came out, right? Like I think I remember that explicitly getting announced on like I think either the Game Awards or something years back before Jeff had it as polished as he had it. And I think Cliff Bleszinski was the one who came out and like announced it. Cliff Bleszinski hasn't been at Epic Games for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. And back then it was like a tower defense game. It had nothing to do with really shooting other people. Like it was the battle royale aspect of it came along after the fact because PUBG was popping off. And then boom, now like Fortnite is, I would argue probably one of the only other things that you could talk about in like in the same stratosphere as Call of Duty as far as like brand recognition, revenue every single year, all that type of stuff. Like, so, it just goes to show that like anybody could come out with, something that people really seem to latch onto at the right time and just create kind of a cultural phenomenon. So there's room for there to be another Call of Duty out there. And I think PlayStation has the resources to make it. I think it's just that they don't want to do that. They don't want to put it in their PlayStation Plus subscription because they know that their monetization model now works for them. I do understand that. I don't think that they can afford to eat losses the way Microsoft can, right? Because obviously Microsoft's just a bigger business. They have a lot more going on. So like Microsoft, they're losing money, or at least I would say they probably were losing a lot of money in the early stages of Game Pass. Right now it's probably profitable, but they probably still are taking certain losses here and there to build up the service even more. I don't think that Sony can take that level of loss for that long, because PlayStation really is the only, or the main thing that's making Sony itself money. So I guess I can kind of understand that, but I still think it's one of those things where, like, if you just start putting bigger games into the service, people will pay attention and just get it. Start bundling it with the PlayStation when you sell it. Like, there are different ways to feed people into that ecosystem and to get people to buy your services, especially when you make the level of games that you make. But no, Chris, what do you think, man? You get a? I mean, I know you're still talking about getting a PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely get one at some point for sure.
Okay.
It's a lot of it is a lot of the same stuff I said last week. I really do think they're just crying about nothing at this point. Because again, you at least know for 3 more years at the very least you're gonna still be getting these games. Could I see it be a future where maybe Microsoft decides to go exclusive with the direct games and then still allows like Warzone to be free to play on every platform? Sure, I can see that too. I can see a bunch of different things, but you know what? At the end of the day, Microsoft put themselves in a position where they have the leverage here and they can make their own decision to do what they want to do. You can't sit here and cry about it, man. Like, it's just mad annoying. Super annoying. But on top of that, I also think you made a good point with the whole competition and being able to do so with the devs that you have in house. I think one of the reasons why a lot of these other games that come out to compete with Call of Duty usually fail is because they are literally just trying to be Call of Duty. Whereas one of the reasons why Halo did well, and one of the reasons why Destiny does well, there is no game out there like Destiny. Destiny is Destiny. Halo is Halo. I'm trying to think. What's another good example of a good? Even Titanfall, man. Titanfall is Titanfall. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. I don't know if there's any other games that remind me of that gameplay. You know what I mean? Like, when you have a really good foundation for FPS, it becomes its own identity in a sense. And I can't say that not it. Battlefield almost had it. They fucked it up, but they almost had it. But I can't really say a lot of these other ones really and truly try to differentiate themselves so much from Call of Duty. It's like you can't sit here and try to be them. You got to like take elements of what they're doing and come up with your own shit. That's how it works. Because they're right. You're probably not going to directly be able to compete with Call of Duty. That's not going to happen. But if you want to make an FPS that people are going to take seriously, you need to be able to give them a reason to want to play it, man. It's like if I buy a cell phone and the cell phone comes with all these bells and whistles and it costs me $800. And then I got to get another cell phone, and the cell phone is like literally trying to look like the other one, but it's minus a couple features, and it costs me $100 more. Why the hell would I want to even deal with that? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, make something that is separate, like something that works, that makes sense. I'm just tired of seeing it. We've seen it with the Killzone. What was this other one? Crossfire that came out on Game Pass. There's so many of these games that come out that are like, we got it. We're gonna be the Call of Duty thing, and we're gonna compete, and they always fall on their face. With Battlefield, at least they could at least said, we have destructible mechanics in our game. Call of Duty can't say that. We have flight suits and things like that. Call of Duty can't say that. We've got this really cool feature where you can switch your attachments on the fly. Call of Duty can't do that. They were starting to come up with all these things. This is why I'm still so disappointed with Battlefield 5, because I really thought that they were gonna separate themselves to a point where like it's like, yo, listen, we got Call of Duty, but you cannot sleep on Battlefield anymore going forward. Going forward, I thought that's what we were gonna get. Didn't happen. But yeah, that's the problem, man. That's why people keep falling, man. You got to come up with your own shit. Stop trying to come up with Call of Duty 5.0. Like, stop it. Like, it doesn't work. Just let it go. Let it go. All right, just stop. Like, I mean, like, same thing with Grand Theft Auto. How many clones have we seen of Grand Theft Auto, and them shits ain't Grand Theft Auto? You know what I mean? Like, just stop. Stop.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, it's true.
Stop doing it. It
What
doesn't
made
make
Saints
sense.
Row good too was like Saints Row was like one of the only clones they could really say was like good just because like yeah, it was like copying like the game banging thing, but they did their own thing by being goofy at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they need their own identity, and I agree. Like the thing that sucks is like PlayStation used to be so innovative. They used to come out with their own different kinds of games, and people used to love it. Like we had Infamous that just like was a great game, and they're not touching that. It's like
I
Cooper, all that kind of
miss
stuff. Jack and
Infamous.
Dexter, bro, SOCOM could have been their could be their whole
My brother
shooter
loves
thing, but
SOCOM, man.
they kind of just gave up on that. Killzone, like back PlayStation 3 was just like that game used to be the shit, but like they just gave up on it so fast when the newest Killzone came out, and like that didn't kick off well for their console exclusive for launch. And like I think just recently they shut down the service for that game with RIP, but like they still have like IPs that were once amazing, and they're just basically relying on people buying their console so they can play third-party games like Call of Duty. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, I think to be fair on that one, I think they saw how things went down with the 360, and that was how Microsoft succeeded for a large part of time on the 360. They got really good with third parties, right? Like Microsoft basically was the one doing the whole exclusivity marketing deals with Call of Duty for the longest time. And it worked out really well for them. Like that helped garner them the idea that like the Xbox was the shooter box, right? And when people thought about Call of Duty, I still feel that. I mean, maybe it's just me because I've been biased about it and I've grew up, I guess, in that era. But I still feel like when people think about Call of Duty, they think about Xbox. But I don't know. Xbox is still the shooter box. Sony capitalized on the idea and they were like, well, look, we saw what Microsoft's doing. Let's just do the same shit for us. And and obviously there was the missteps with the Xbox One that helped like turn the tide a little bit. But yeah, I think a lot of what Sony's doing now, PlayStation doing now, is they basically just kind of took the Xbox 360 playbook and then like turned it into their own thing. Obviously Microsoft didn't really have the exclusives that Sony had, but I think that they play it really safe with the exclusives now. Sony, that is. Like, I don't think they're really taking that many chances when you look at, God of War. And I guess Ghost of Tsushima was different, but it still fed into that same style of game that I'm used to seeing from Sony. Like God of War, same style of game I'm used to seeing from Sony, Uncharted, Last of Us, so on and so forth. Like that third-person action adventure title. And obviously, it works. I'm not complaining in any of that necessarily in that way, but I just think when you look at a lot of the PlayStation strategy, it's just playing it safe. And I mean, I guess Returnal is probably the least safe thing that they've done, but even still, it feels. Maybe it's just my brain, but it just feels like a lot of the same stuff. Like Sifu is like the. I mean, I still love that game. That's up there for like game of the year for me. One of my favorite games this year, hands down. But Sifu's probably one of the closest things that I'm like, okay, this is different. And I've never seen something like this done this way, executed this way. So I give Sony a lot of credit for that. Even though none of their internal studios necessarily made that, Sony was smart enough to recognize it, see that this is a big deal, and fund it. And I respect them for that. But as far as the internal studios, I'm not seeing enough of that like innovation that I, want to see. Like Microsoft takes chances. Again, Microsoft takes chances because they're in last place. Like there's no way around that. But I don't know. I just want to see more of that. And that's like kind of the nature of the competition, right? Like Microsoft's in last place. They're taking more chances. They're buying all these studios. You're probably going to see positive changes to the Activision brand as a whole. Maybe we'll get that Tony Hawk back. Maybe we'll get the Guitar Hero. Maybe they'll fix the things that we all complain about in Call of Duty. And they're doing that, again, because they're in last place. And that's the nature of competition, which is exactly why instead of Sony bitching about this stuff, they just need to, gear up for war. That's really what this is about. Just get their shit together, basically.
Makes no sense, man. It's a bunch of crying. Quite here for that. Shut all that shit up. Nope, we're not here for it. We is not.
Yeah, we trying to see what Sony. We trying to see what you guys have. Like we know you guys have banger developers. I just want to see you start greenlighting those bigger games and just start releasing some of those franchises. Give me give me more reasons to continue to turn back on my PlayStation 5. Like I just like redid my whole desk setup, and it's funny, like I didn't plug back in my PlayStation 5. It's sitting there next to my PC and next to my Xbox. I just didn't plug it back in because I just don't feel like turning it on. I need to turn it on though because I need to play Horizon because I don't know. I don't know what it is, Manny. I can't play that game yet. I don't know why. Like should I just dive in? I know you said it's
like,
good.
You know, I liked it personally. I enjoyed everything of it. So like I think it's a good game.
What would you give it first score?
Give it like I'll give it an 8.
An 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty high.
You know, it's a good game, good story. You know, some things are a little repetitive, but other than that, it's like, you know, overall, I think it's a good experience.
What do you give Sifu then?
Sifu? Give it a 5 because I keep on dying and it's too hard.
You better stop, bro. You gave me a heart attack there. A 5. Nah, for real.
Sifu's a great game. You know, like this. You know, I'm gonna rate it differently because this isn't like your, you know, AAA title that everybody's used to seeing. I think Sifu is definitely like higher than an 8, like 8.5 to like a 9. I would say just because like it's innovative. It's something, you know, new. Mm-hmm. Even though like I mean, I guess you could say you've seen those type of games before, but this one's different. You know, you're playing. It's a kung fu fighter, you know.
Yeah, 9 is where I was. Yeah, 9 is where I landed on Sifu, and I haven't even finished it yet. But
like, I'm not gonna punish it for being an indie game.
Well, yeah, a lot of people tend to do that.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. Damn, yo. I'm like, damn. I want to finish that game too now. So like, do I want to fire up the PlayStation or should I just buy it on PC and just?
Why would you do that?
Yeah, because I don't want to hook it up, bro. Like I don't want to mess with all the wiring and stuff. Like I already got it set up nicely. But at the same time,
trash,
but you know what though too, it would give me an opportunity, you know, because I got that new graphics card. It give me an opportunity to mess around with that a little bit. So maybe I should, you know.
You getting Saints Row for free, right?
I am getting Saints Row for free. Oh,
there we go.
Thank you. I'm getting Saints Row for free. I'm getting Forspoken, which got pushed back. And then that Sniper Elite game, which, you know, we ain't even worried about. Oh, speaking of games that got pushed back, though, this is probably the last thing before we get out of here. I don't know if you guys heard, but that Hogwarts game got pushed back.
Sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I feel like besides that showcase, we haven't heard too much news. So I'm kind of like not surprised, but at the same time, it's like it still sucks because it's another pushback.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's another pushback, and then also now we're unsure if it's even coming to Switch, which I guess doesn't particularly surprise me. But it's getting pushed back to February 2023. This is like the new trend now, right? Like February is the new fall. We're gonna be getting a ton of random games in February. I don't know, man. Somebody just shift that over a little bit. Give us something in June, July.
Games, man. Like it's either holiday or the beginning of the year. I don't want to like be bunched up with a bunch of games, which leads me to forget a bunch of games, which is why like you probably haven't played Horizon because I came out at a bad time. Just you know, I didn't play Dying Light 2 because like Sifu came out literally a couple days later, and then like you know I got stuck on that, and then Horizon, Elden Ring, like no. Spread out your games, developers. Like, I don't know why y'all think the holiday season is it, because like this whole summer there could have been some game, and we talked about this I think pre-show where like Riders Republic could have like instead of released like last year in November when all those other games came out, they could have released in the summertime. Everybody would have had their summer game, been fine with it. But
absolutely, man, you 1,000% right, bro. Like there's to me, when I think about gaming nowadays, like games really popping off the way, you know, like Elden Ring did, it ends up having to be like a cultural like situation. So if you were releasing something around, I mean, I guess that this isn't necessarily new, but also the idea of social media definitely like compounds that now. So like you think about when Elden Ring dropped, right? It was just like, boom, like I'm seeing stuff on TikTok, I'm seeing stuff on Twitter, like memes, this, that, blah, 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 blah. It builds up the hype of what Elden Ring is, so more people play it, you know. That automatically encompasses anything that's near it. Like you didn't see no Horizon memes. Like maybe for like the first week you saw some stuff about Sifu, but like that died off real quick. It was like as soon as Elden Ring dropped, it sucked all the air out of the space. So like if I'm a developer, why do you want to continue to drop all these games around the same time frame? Like if, like you said, Riders Republic, if that dropped in the summer, that could have been a whole vibe for people streaming it, for people just, having something to consume. Fall Guys was like when that dropped, that's probably one of the smarter ideas that Media Tonic and Epic, who owns them now, did. It was like dropping it at the time frame that they dropped it, not only when it initially came out on PlayStation and PC, but when they kind of did like a relaunch for the free-to-play thing that came out on Xbox and Switch. It was like there was a time frame for that. That became like another like cultural reset too. Like you started seeing TikToks about it. People were talking about it a little bit more. Obviously, it wasn't as big as when it first came out, but it gave us something to digest. Like there should be more of that spaced out over a certain period of time. Like Horizon would have benefited greatly if it wasn't near Elden Ring. Sifu would have benefited greatly if it wasn't near Horizon and Elden Ring. It's just space that shit out. Give us some stuff now. Yeah. Now we don't have much better.
We still got that in like October. Every game I swear is coming out in the same week. Yeah. You got Call of Duty coming out like the 25th. I don't know any other games because like I probably really don't care, but
I remember when we were watching those things at the Summer Games Fest live, and then like the other stuff that was happening, it was like October, and it's like, bro, why is everything happening in October now? That's like weird. I don't know, man.
Very weird.
And the God of War is probably gonna overtake all of them.
It's true. It will. I mean, it will. It's just that's just how it goes. I mean, unless we get something random that kind of slips through. Callisto Protocol is one of those things that's happening like in December, and I think it's smartly like just away from God of War. Well, I guess it's probably when is God of War coming out again?
It's November. We'll just say beginning November.
Beginning, okay. If Sifu shifted itself a little bit closer to the, not Sifu, Callisto Protocol shifted itself a little bit closer to the middle of December, I think that would be like a perfect place for it to just kind of live on its own. And I think that game's going to be huge. I've actually been playing Dead Space 3 with Felix recently, so like been getting back into that mode and like the horror aspects of it, and this dude just being like horrified. It's just absolutely hilarious. So I gotta say, I cannot wait for Callisto Protocol to drop. But yeah. I mean, I guess guys, we'll talk more about it next week. We could sit here talking for forever about this stuff, but we're already going over an hour. So, we want to thank you guys for watching and listening. Please make sure to subscribe, on the YouTube page. I think we actually got our 69th subscriber. It was our boy Marquise. So we got to shout him out. Marquise, thank you for being the 69th.
Nice.
Giggity and all that good stuff. But yeah, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 by the end of the year. That's gotta be our goal. We're gonna hit it. I think we're gonna hit it. So anybody who's listening or watching, share it with a friend. Let people know about us. If you like what you hear, let other people know about it. Share the wealth. So thank you guys again for watching and listening. We will check you guys out next week to talk about opening night live. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.